Alright, welcome back to part 2 of the video lecture this week. So, we kind of ended with a quick run through of these exceptions and what they mean, and we'll be exploring these more specific cases throughout the rest of this module. The remainder of the reading this week deals with 3 cases: the Warden, Maryland Penitentiary v. Hayden from 1967. In this case, the armed robber took $363 from a cab company and fled on foot. When the police arrived at the residence, the Hayden's wife, Miss Hayden, allowed them to search the house without a warrant. And the officers found him upstairs in a bedroom. They also found clothes that matched, as well as a shotgun and pistol in the flush tank of the toilet, ammunition. He was charged with armed robbery. And the clothing and evidence were admitted into evidence against him. So that, remember, they were there without a warrant, but they did get permission from Miss Hayden to search the house without that warrant. So now can the evidence they retrieved be used to get a conviction against him? So that's kind of the issue here, is why about that evidence is okay. And if we come down here, we can see that the purpose of the Fourth Amendment is not the question, can they be seized? The Fourth Amendment is meant to protect privacy from being violated, and it doesn't matter what the object is. The object doesn't dictate how much privacy you get. So this is important at kind of defining what a Fourth Amendment search and violation looks like, what it means. So these things that they seized from the home with Miss Hayden's permission to search are able to use to obtain a conviction against Hayden. Okay. The second case is Florida v. Jardines. In this case, Miami-Dade police officers received an unverified Crime Stopper tip that Jolis Jardines was growing marijuana on his property at his house. So one morning, 2 detectives along with a drug dog went onto the front porch of the home and let the dog sniff the seam of Jardines' front door. And the dog alerted for the scent of narcotics, and the detectives also smelled marijuana. So based on the drug dog's alert and the detectives' smell of the marijuana, the detectives got a search warrant and confirmed that marijuana was being grown, and so Jardines was arrested and charged with trafficking marijuana. Jardines moved to suppress the evidence that was seized on his home and argued that the drug dog sniff was a search under the Fourth Amendment, and therefore under that exclusionary rule, that drug dog's alert and everything that police officers got from that, the fruit of the poisonous tree, should be excluded. Okay? So when the case goes up to the Supreme Court, we have the Supreme Court saying that yes, that drug dog being on someone's front porch and smelling the seam of their porch is a search under the Fourth Amendment. Okay? Typically, we control people who come onto our porch. We can ask people to leave from our porch. If someone's trying to sell you something, you can say, no, thank you, you need to leave. We give kind of implicit permission for mail carriers and gas meter readers to come onto our property, but they still have a limited scope. The mailman's not supposed to be going into your garage unless you've explicitly said, please deliver my package here. Okay, so police officers have that same limit. They can go onto your porch because almost anyone could knock on your door, but they can't go onto your front porch and use that as the basis to launch an investigation into you, because that crosses the line into the Fourth Amendment. Okay, we have more privacy in our homes. Our home is where our Fourth Amendment rights are the strongest. So taking that drug dog onto his porch for the purpose of investigating him is a Fourth Amendment search, and that evidence can't be used to obtain a conviction. Okay. Our next case is the Safford Unified School District case v. Reading. Savannah Redding is an 8th grader who was strip searched by school officials because she had a prescription strength ibuprofen in her bag on a school campus that does not permit any drugs to be on campus. So it was like the equivalent, she had the equivalent of 3 small ibuprofen, over-the-counter ibuprofens on her. And they strip searched her. The school nurse had her take off and shake out her bra and looked in her underwear. And remember, she's in 8th grade. She's still a child. So can school officials engage in a strip search on school property for someone who broke a school rule? And the answer is maybe. The answer is maybe. But here, for Savannah, for her to be suspected of having 3 over-the-counter ibuprofen on school, for the school to engage in a strip search of her, crossed the line. It became unreasonable. It's not like they just looked through her backpack or her locker for ibuprofen. They actually had her shake out her bra, and the nurse looked in her underwear. And remember, one part of the Fourth Amendment is that it prohibits unreasonable searches and seizures. And taking those steps crossed over that threshold of what is reasonable to do, particularly given that this is an 8th grader. So having an 8th grader shake out their bra, looking in their underwear for ibuprofen is not reasonable. Schools went too far. Now, there are times where schools can legitimately search, but it's a question of a case-by-case basis. And what we really need to keep sight of when we're talking about the Fourth Amendment is, was the government actor, here the school officials or the police officers, were their actions reasonable? If their actions are not reasonable, then we have a Fourth Amendment problem. Okay? So as you think about and look through these 2 video lectures, read through, let me know if you have any questions, and I will be back on to record another lecture for next week. Have a great rest of your day.